Hello and welcome to Midwife Dave. I'm Piroshka Cavell. I'm a midwife registered in the UK with the NMC, known as Midwife Dave because people couldn't pronounce my name. That's what I've been called. Okay, so this is another one in our series of videos in all things to do with pregnancy, labour, birth and beyond. Today we thought we'd do a little video about feeding your baby. Here in the UK it's quite a complex subject. The pressure really is on our mums to breastfeed, and as midwives we are unable to give much advice with regard to any other option. I personally feel it's a bit too much pressure. Yes, breast is best, but I think it's really important that you have a choice on how you want to feed your baby. So we're going to cover both areas just briefly, and I will be doing further videos in detail showing you how to mix feeds and techniques for breastfeeding as well. So when it comes to deciding about how you're going to feed your baby, remember it is your choice. You'll be given lots of information with regard to what is the best thing to do, but it is at the end of the day up to you. Now, pros and cons. For breastfeeding, there's a whole list of pros. It has amazing health benefits for the baby. It's natural. It's there. It's not going to cost you any money. It's got everything in. Babies are going to get antibodies. They're going to be protected from illnesses. So there's a lot going on. The nutritional value of breast milk is huge. So, for instance, once baby's born, and during pregnancy as well, you may find that your boobs are leaking a kind of clear to yellowish liquid, and that's colostrum. And that colostrum is supercharged. It has a huge calorific value, and it has all the antibodies in it. So this is what your baby gets when shortly after birth, and for the first sort of 3 to 4 days until your actual milk comes in. And just to give you an idea, sort of 1 ml of colostrum is the equivalent of nutritionally to 30 ml of artificial milk. Now that is nutritionally, that's not volume. And that's the difference. A lot of the time the problem people have with breastfeeding is they're concerned they don't know how much baby's got. Is it getting enough? Well, the golden rule is if baby's not getting enough, it will let you know. They generally scream and scream and scream. Okay. So it's very different from artificial milk. The cons are it's not as easy as people make out. You know, for most mums, baby doesn't deliver and then go straight to the breast. It's trial and error. You have to remember your baby's not done it before, and you may not have done it before. And even if you haven't done it with this baby. So ask your midwives for lots of support, ask your mums for support, other mums that you know. Please do not be upset and go on lots of websites that are what we like to call breastfeeding terrorists, where you will be condemned if you dare do anything else apart from breastfeed. That's really not fair, and there's a whole complex raft of reasons as to why some people can't breastfeed, or maybe it's their choice and they just don't want to. It is your choice, remember that. As for mums who want to artificially feed, most feeds are the same. There's not much in them. They're different brands, and it's up to you which one you choose. It's really important that you realise that baby only needs the first milk. But if baby's crying or unsettled, don't think it's because it's hungry and it needs hungrier baby milk, unless there's been an actual problem and a paediatrician has actually prescribed that for you. The things to remember with artificial milk, obviously it doesn't contain the antibodies, it's not natural, it is man-made, okay? Babies who are artificially fed tend to get a lot more tummy upsets, they get a lot more wind, a lot more colic. Now you have to remember also that with preparation, cleanliness is the key. It's really important that you sterilise anything that goes in your baby's mouth in those first few months, so bottles, teats, dummies, okay? And it's also really important that you follow the directions for mixing up the food properly. This is to reduce the risk of salmonella, and that's what babies are at risk at from bottles that are made up incorrectly, or that are stored made up or used, half used, and for longer than they should be. There are no antibodies in the artificial milk, as we've said, okay, so there's no protection from diseases. And it is just man-made, but it is a nutritional supplement. It will feed your baby will thrive, as they have done for many, many years. The most important message I want to get across in this video is don't feel guilty and don't feel worried about what your choice is with regard to feeding your baby. For some mums, they intend to breastfeed and they have every intention of doing so, and they begin and find that actually it really is quite difficult. It's more difficult for them than what they first thought. For some mums, they may have had a section unexpectedly, and that can make breastfeeding harder, and we'll explain more in the breastfeeding video. And I don't want you to feel guilty if it doesn't work out. The most important thing is that you enjoy feeding your baby. For lots of people, I hear stories of women who started off breastfeeding and then they felt under so much pressure to continue, and their nipples were sore and they were in lots of pain. They didn't enjoy the experience at all, and then they felt guilty and they felt like a failure. I have women say to me, I am a failure, I feel like a failure because I'm not able to feed my baby. Absolutely rubbish. You are not a failure. It's just the way things go, and it's better for you to have an enjoyable time feeding your baby, whether that's breast or bottle, and that your baby is thriving and that your baby is well. You are not a failure. If you're achieving that, well done. You're doing a great job as a mum. So look out for other videos that we're doing more in depth, so individual videos, one for breastfeeding and one for artificially feeding. Obviously, if your baby is unwell or you've had a complicated pregnancy and for some reasons your baby has to be fed by a tube, then obviously follow the plan that you're given, or if you have a specialist paediatric plan, do follow that. Okay, any questions? Feel free to ask. Thank you.